Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Marketing Discussion Series, and this week I have got Dr. Petra Bouvain with me. Dr. Petra was my supervisor during my PhD days, and I have worked for a long time under Dr. Petra in this very unit, so it's really an honor for me to have her and interview her. So Dr. Petra has a long and illustrious career in marketing. She was in fashion industry, and she was a business owner, and also she is a very active investor in the real estate market as well. Apart from that, for 28 years she was a senior lecturer in the University of Canberra, and now she is an adjunct assistant professor. So, and all her life she actually taught marketing, and she also practiced marketing. So there is no better person to talk about marketing and marketing mix rather than Dr. Petra. So Petra, thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
being
Irfan,
here.
for inviting me. It's lovely to be back at the university. I'm retired 3 years, but it's so nice, even if I can't talk to the students directly, but communicating with them.
Of course, and I'm sure students still, you have got so much to offer, and they have so much to learn from you, and I'm sure like from our conversation they are going to learn some very important things. So Petra, last week I have actually discussed or introduced to our marketing fundamentals students about the concept of marketing mix. So predominantly in our today's discussion we are going to talk about various aspects of marketing mix. We are going to talk about product, price, placement, and distribution and promotion, so we are going to talk about these aspects of marketing mix, but before I actually get to those elements of marketing mix, I just wanted to know about your perception about marketing. Why do you think that is still relevant when the technology is pretty much taking over the business world, and sort of we tend to ignore the skill side of marketing and we focus more on the technical side of marketing?
So true, and I mean there have been so many discussions, for example, that the marketing mix is old-fashioned because it was, first mentioned in the 1950s by Borden and those things, and we have now whatever 4 P's, 5 P's, 6, 7, 8, the 4 C's, all letters of the alphabet. But I'm really old-fashioned, I suppose, and I think having a simple model like the 4P works, and it works in an online environment as well. And I think we often think customers have changed. They have changed, but customers want to be still valued. Customers want to be, students are customers in a way. They want to be taken seriously. Whatever they say, they want to participate, and I think the 4Ps does that really, really, really well. And I think sometimes we think everything is online, so we don't need to. And the other day I tried to ring a company. I wait on the phone for a long time, and guess what happens? I got the number actually from the internet. Okay, ring them up because I want to talk to someone. And what does it say? Go to our website, and gives me the website address where I was. Was I happy? No. And so
it's because of the lack of engagement and lack of interaction.
I think when you want to engage with your customers, you need to engage as your customer wants. Okay, there are a lot of pressures in terms of costs. It's a lot cheaper saying look at the website. It's the same when you tell a student, don't bother me, don't talk to me, I need to drink a coffee, go on the website, there's the information. The student won't be very happy.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure like even I am also old school when it comes to my outlook towards marketing. I feel that that engagement side and the human side of marketing is still very important. Now coming back to product, so when it comes to product, last week I have gone through several concepts under products. So I've talked about the total product concept, where the products can be divided into number of categories. So there are core products, and there are actual product, and there are augmented products. So some of the students come back and tell me that, okay, Fan, you teach us all these theories. So you talk about product concept, then you talk about differentiation, and then you also talk about branding. Yes, there are lots of theories, but how do we apply these theories in our real life? So, for example, if I take a job of a marketing manager, then like how do we apply these theories? So that's one of the common questions that I get. So, what is your take in it? Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
we look at an example.
Mm.
What is actually when we look at a ring?
Mm.
No? And when do you usually buy a diamond ring?
So, if I'm going
Engaged,
to propose to
getting
my,
engaged, that
yeah.
may be.
Mm.
And I had actually one of my friends telling me this story, and her daughter came home and said, Mom, I got engaged.
Mhm.
Shows Mom the ring, and what's a diamond ring, 1 carat nowadays worth? I think between 5 and 10,000. The Bears always says you should spend about 3 monthly salary on your engagement ring. So mum says, we better actually, let's actually go back how actually the daughter got engaged. And she said, oh mum, Jim actually said to me, put the ring on my finger and said to me, let this ring be the token of our love.
Mm.
Okay. Mum says there's so many burglaries in Canberra, let's get the ring insured. So they go to Prouds and get a valuation from the ring to get an insurance. And the valuation comes back. It's an 18-karat gold setting worth $500.
Mm-hmm.
And high quality cubic zirconia worth $100. Like to ask the students now, maybe the girls we should ask them, would you marry the guy? So what has actually changed? The ring was beautiful. The ring is beautiful. What has changed? Price. 6,000 versus 600. The ring feels the same, looks the same, smells the same, tastes the same. But everything has changed because of price. It's the same thing when you have a watch. I had a friend who had a Rolex watch, and the time he didn't tell the time, but it's a Rolex watch about telling the time. A watch from the petrol station for $10 tells the time more accurately than a Rolex watch. So what does a Rolex watch actually do? $5,000, $20,000. It actually shows you that I can afford $20,000.
Makes you feel good about yourself.
When we look at Maslow hierarchy of needs, looking right at the top. So I think price is always in a product inherent as well, because we have learned since you were little, you get what you pay for. If you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. So saying to say, price is forgotten long after value is remembered, and all those old sayings. My background, as you said, is in fashion, and I met when I was working a guy who made shirts, and he made shirts for Big W and for David Jones. This is quite a few years back, and I think the Big W shirts were $49 and the Big W were $19.95. They were actually the same shirts, identical. Interesting. I said that to my friends. You can buy the same shirts from Big W for $19.95. They said, no, they're not the same shirts. I said, they are. There's the same fabrics, there's the same stitching, there's the same button.
Just the brand.
The brand is different. But people wouldn't want to wear that. It's the same with perfume. What's in a bottle? Charles Weston sometimes said, in a bottle of cosmetics there's hope.
Yes.
If I buy a La Cura cream from Aldi and put it in my face, I think at the moment special for $9.95. Or I buy the Lancome for $195, or the La Mer for $695. Must be better,
So the meaning that is attached to the product actually carries
so
more
hope.
value.
And what I think a good one is, for example, L'Oreal. Their hair color is more expensive. Their cosmetic is middle price, but their slogan is because I'm worth it. You know, because why would I use a hair dye for $9.95 when I can pay $20? Must be better. I think in most cases it's actually not the. When I first started teaching and came to Australia, there was a huge difference in clothing. You know, cheap clothes were cheap. They looked cheap, and you could see from half a kilometer away that someone was wearing something really cheap. But I mean, when you look at something like this, you know, this could be
$500.
$500. It could be $20. It could be $15. It could be reduced. You know, it's very hard actually to determine that. And the only thing how you can determine the price is actually, this is also a mid-price brand, also Australian brand.
Yeah.
Okay, that says then something to me. People say, oh, yeah, she doesn't have a Louis Vuitton bag. Not today with me. You know, there's a bag for 6,000, 2,000, or I think I paid,
50.
I bought this 60% off or something, or 70% in the sale. I think I paid 90. You know what I mean? But it could have bought something similar looking for a lesser price, or something similar looking for 3 times as much. So I think branding has become more and more important.
Okay. Yes, so obviously the branding plays, and it's about how in business actually communicate their story with the customers as well.
That is a good point, because the brand is no longer, because the stuff is the same.
Yeah.
Really. But I think it's a story behind it. It's a person behind it.
Yes.
It is, I mean, Nike, the association, you know, it's a little bit of a rebel person. So I think brand like Country Road, it's something Country Road in the recent ads have changed. For example, more diverse person in the ads. Aldi, you know, their slogan is good, different. Before, I remember when I was a kid in Germany in Aldi, people who would shop at Aldi would be people, the poor and downtrodden. This has totally changed.
Absolutely.
Because it's now a clever person shops cheap. And I think another example is actually Kmart.
Yes, I was actually going to bring this example forward. The Kmart is a classic example when it comes to positioning strategy or repositioning their brand. So before, like, I remember when I came here as a foreign student, so obviously Kmart was attached to a very cheap brand. Like, so people used to perceive Kmart as a where you go cheap clothing and cheap items, and you pay cheap, you get peanuts. So that's what they say, right? But now they have completely repositioned their brand, so their price is still low, but the quality of their products are not inferior in most cases, and some of their items are in fact better than the other price ones.
They're the design as well, especially in the homeware, and they have a website, I think it's called Mums for Kmart or something like that, you know, where people actually share design ideas. And I've used quite a bit of Kmart when I started real estate. And you know, some of the funny thing is sometimes when we sold some of the stuff later off, for some of the Kmart stuff, I got more than I paid for. Because it just looked good and timeless, and it's just on trend. And I think they have done that, so lately they haven't advertised as much. I think, which I find quite surprising, because I think also in the ads they were able to position themselves in a market which is cheap but stylish.
Stylish, absolutely.
Yeah.
And also I just wanted to, once again, going back to the theory of the total product concept, like, so the core product, and so obviously we know the core product refers to the core benefit that is communicated to the customers, whereas the expected and augmented product has become really tricky in this age, like, because the consumer expectation varies. So for example, when I buy a car now, I just expect that all these features and additional warranties and different features would just come across, will come as a package, rather than basically businesses trying to, rather than perceive that this business is trying to develop a personal relationship with me. So expectation has skyrocketed. do you think the businesses find it difficult to keep up with customers' expectation?
I think so. I think so because the idea customer is king is, well, yes and no, because you need to also stay in business. I always have the example, for example, and companies like Kmart and Target have changed that slightly as well. I may buy this jumper and I wear it today and then I say, "Oh, don't really like it. Turquoise doesn't suit me, I take it back. You need to take it back because I don't want it anymore." What do? You can't sell a used jumper which has been worn. So I think that has been a real problem. And when you look especially in online
Yes,
clothing,
the online brands, yeah.
I mean, there is
Massive volume of returns they deal with.
massive value of
Zoppa
returns.
and
What
all
do
these
you
brands,
do? Turquoise next season, you can't sell that even for half price, sort of 90% off even. Doesn't work anymore, and used is a real
So
problem.
is there any answer for the businesses from the other side? Like, so I know that most of our...
I think you need to make it clear. I think many companies
the
have seen it
clarity
change.
of, yeah.
For example, when it's greatly reduced and companies, I'm thinking of the cheaper end of the market. I'm thinking of Millers and Rockmans and those ones. So they have, or Blue Illusion, they have which is more middle range, but they have an outlet stores online. But in the outlet stores, you can't actually return it. So you pay $20 for the jumper, which was $90, but if it doesn't fit,
that's it. Yeah.
you're tough
That's
luck.
your luck. Yeah.
So I think they had
The
to do that
clarity
because the costs were just getting.
Yeah, and I think
out
it's
of-
more important for new startups, right? For example, if you start an online clothing store, and then you start getting all sorts of returns, that's going to have a very detrimental effect in your bottom line. So this is something
And
that,
I
so that
think-
clear policies in terms of clear return policies and clear articulation of core product and their
And I mean,
the
there's
other benefits they're getting
statutory
needs to
things.
be
If there is a fault in the product, you can return it. But otherwise, I think it's, in this whole fast fashion. I think it was. Don't quote me on this, but I think it was 20% of garments who still have the labels when they go to Vinnie's and they. It's just amazing what is not actually worn. I know that from my own daughter.